All right, well, welcome everybody. This is the info session for the first year abroad Germany program that is happening this summer. We're just going to take the next like 20, 30 minutes. We're going to go through a little presentation, give an overview of the class and the program and the application process, and then we're here to answer any questions that you might have about the program as well. So let's start off with some introductions. My name is Scott Ozorowski. I work in the study abroad office and I help coordinate all of the first year abroad programs. And I kind of do a lot of the behind the scenes and helping with the application process and helping with a lot of behind the scenes details. And then Julia, I will hand it off
Yes.
to.
Thank you, Scott. Hi, I'm Julia Woesthoff. I'm a professor in the history department. My field is German history, maybe not surprising given this program. I was also born and raised in Germany, so that is my original home. And I'm just excited to present this program and lead it because questions of diversity, migration are really near and dear to my heart. So it's always very exciting to lead it.
And Grace, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Grace Jacks. I'm a staff member at DePaul. I work in undergraduate admission, so I help recruit students and put on events for students. I also went to DePaul. I graduated in 2021, so very excited to be a part of this program with Julia. I did not study abroad in college, and I really wish I did. So I'm kind of living that out now as a staff pro. And yeah, I'm very excited to go to Germany and work with you all, work with the students that'll be in this group and be a support.
So in terms of the course, I'm going to give a little bit of an overview and then I'll have Julia take all over talking about the course and the time abroad. So this is a first year abroad program, so it's designed for first year students. So hopefully all of you here are first year students. First year students can mean first year freshmen. It can also mean first year transfer students. The course that you get for this is your focal point seminar, which is LSP 112. So if you are a sophomore who has not taken LSP 112, then you are also available to be able to do the program. If you are in a major where LSP 112 focal point seminar is not a required course, there are some majors where that is the case. It's okay. You can absolutely still do this program. You will get your experiential learning credit for it, and or it can go towards just elective coursework. And then, for example, honor students are some of the people who do not need to take a focal point seminar, but we have a specific articulation with the honors program. So students that are doing this program are going to get a specific honors credit. I'm pretty sure it's honors 102, and you get your experiential learning requirement fulfilled. So you get a couple different things fulfilled for doing this course. So just wanted to kind of let you know how that works. It will be a course that's offered in the spring quarter. It's scheduled right now to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 2:30. So as you are making your spring quarter schedule, please make sure not to have a class in that Tuesday, Thursday, 1 o'clock slot because you will need it for this. You cannot self-register yourself in this course. What's going to happen is once you do the application process, if you get accepted and decide to move forward, I will register you in the classwork, and that will be something that we do and put in your schedule. So you just need to leave a space for it. It's a 4 credit course during the spring quarter. But you will also be enrolled in another 2 credit course that's LSP 250. That is not a course that meets during the spring quarter. You don't have to worry about that. That is basically the credit you get for going abroad. So that's your 2 credits that are for the abroad experience in June, because you will have some assignments that go along with that abroad experience that you may be doing, like reflection journals or a final project or paper that you turn in after the program in June. And so that's what those 2 credits are for. It's not an actual like meeting on campus in the spring quarter, but you'll see it in your spring quarter schedule. So those are kind of the logistics of the course and how that works. And I'm going to turn it over to Julia to talk about the course itself and then kind of talk through how the program works.
Yes, thank you, Scott. Yeah, welcome everyone once again. It's exciting to see, how many students are interested. And this is a course, as the description also says, about questions of diversity and multiculturalism. And it is focused on Berlin because it's such a dynamic city. Germany has a lot of migration, has seen a lot of migration, a lot of diversity, something that might not be so. Not so familiar with many who, have certain images of Germany and Europe maybe at large as more, monocultural, more homogenous. But Berlin in particular, it has had the largest Jewish community in Germany. until the Nazi era. It has once again become a vibrant hub for Jewish culture and life in Berlin. But that's not the only group, but it's one of the most long-standing groups that really reflects a lot of the issues that we are going to be addressing in this course, and what we're going to be exploring once we're in Berlin. And then the other group that we're also going to be focusing on is the group of Turkish migrants who came when Germany's economy was taking off again after the war. And many of them settled in Berlin. And so we're going to explore the traditional migrant communities that have been very much shaped also by this wave of Turkish migrants. And some of you might know that, now we have a lot of refugees who've come to Germany in the last 10 years, since 2015, many of them from Syria, and they have really left their imprint on the city and are very dynamically, shaping it as well. So, I always try to adjust the program from year to year as the city evolves, and it is again a very quick evolution. There's lots changing, so it's also my goal to introduce you all to that aspect of Berlin, and so we really are exploring this and also try to understand both while we are on campus, but then certainly also while we're in Berlin, what made Berlin so attractive, right, to such a broad group of immigrants, of people more generally, and how has that affected the city? If you don't mind moving on. Yeah. And so these are just some of the key questions we will be exploring. As I was just saying, what made Berlin in particular such a popular destination and continues to make it such a popular destination. Just as an aside, Berlin also has a huge expat American community. So it really is, it's very attractive to a wide range of groups. Why did immigrants come? Why did they stay? Why did they settle? Then, of course, we also have to ask ourselves the question, what I call the native German population, how have they reacted to these developments? And I say here native non-Jewish because it's really important to understand that the Jewish community, the vast majority of them were also German citizens prior to the Nazis coming to power and stripping them of their citizenship. So we need to be careful to distinguish and be very mindful of the language we're using here. Certainly, we have to ask ourselves how the Nazi past has shaped German reactions, to migrants and to ethnic minorities after the war, and continues to do so. That is a history that has shaped Germany ever since it happened, and is continued to do so well into the future. And then overall, how has this evolving multiculturalism shaped the city? How have the various groups of people imprinted the city? And we are going to look at these questions through a variety of lenses. I'm a historian, so we're definitely going to, and many of you mentioned you are, history fans, so that's always great to hear. So we're definitely going to look at it through the lens of history. But Berlin is also a really interesting site for architecture, and for really the layering of architecture. Also, when it comes to questions of migration, of diversity. And then finally, I think literature is always a very good, gateway into learning about various aspects of what Berlin has been, and what it is becoming. And so we're going to use history, architecture, and literature to explore these questions together, again, while we are together in Chicago and then also on the ground in the city. And so I just wanted to give you some highlights of what you're going to see. This is by no means exhaustive, but I think it gives you a good idea of how I envision introducing you to Berlin and these various issues that I've just raised. Of course, we're going to be looking at historic and iconic sites. What you see here, the image, some of you might recognize. This is the former and once again seat of German Parliament, the so-called Reichstag. And it is possible for us to visit it, and to understand its history and the impact that the policies and politics that were created in that building were made. And if you look closely, you see that it has a glass a glass roof, right, which is supposed to represent transparency and the values of democracy. And that was not added until this building once again became the seat of German parliament after Germany reunification. And so it's a new addition to it, but very much reflective of what Germany at least aspires to be. And there you have pictures of us, a group of students of a few years back in beautiful weather on the roof, exploring this building and its historical significance. This is the Brandenburg Gate. It's probably, if you know any architecture in Berlin, this is maybe the one you all know. And I picked this picture in particular. I was in Berlin during Pride Month a few years ago, and it being lit up in Pride colors is an indication of what the city really reflects and aspires to be welcoming to all. This might be something a little less familiar. This is the House of the Wannsee Conference. This is where the so-called final solution was adopted. It was the site where Nazi Nazi regime, some of the higher echelons of the Nazi regime came together to organize what we know as the Holocaust. And this is a site, I'm just FYI, this is a historic site, and so you can see where where these kinds of conversations happened, and it has a really great historical exhibit as well. This is the Jewish Museum. It's one of the more recent additions to the historical landscape and the cultural landscape of Berlin. It has a really fascinating architecture. You can see it here. It kind of looks like a broken lightning bolt, also to reflect aspects of Jewish history in Germany. And as I say here, it covers really the centuries-long history of Jewish life in the German lands. It's not a Holocaust museum. It's very explicitly, has as its goal to educate about the long-standing place of Jewish Germans in the country. And this is something that we're also going to. So what you just saw, the last few slides, these were very iconic, historic, very important architectural sites and cultural sites that you can read in all tour guides. This is something possibly off the beaten path a little bit more. This is, as you might be able to tell, an immigrant neighborhood, right? With immigrant, markets, and if you know, one thing you probably will learn about me very quickly is that I love food. So we will definitely make that one of our priorities to learn about the city through food and different kinds of food. So I hope you all enjoy that too. And so what you see in the middle there is one of the oldest post-war buildings housing a large Turkish immigrant community, and the markets and food stands that have grown up around it.
Okay. I'll get into some logistics. So the application deadline for this program is February 1st. Some of you I know here have already started your application. Some of you actually already submitted it. Some of you have not done anything with that yet. So if you have not applied or if you opened it but have not submitted it, please get that done as soon as possible. You have until February 1st, but please don't wait until February 1st. Do it before that. It's a pretty simple process. There's a handful of questions that are just some short answer questions that you just need to write a paragraph or so, and then submit that. There's one thing in here that is out of date. You do not need an online recommendation. Sorry, that did not get removed from here. You just need to submit that application. And then Julia and Grace will be in touch with everybody who has applied, and they'll be setting up some brief interviews after you've submitted your application at the end of January or the first week or two of February. And those are just going to be small groups of maybe 3, 4, 5 students that you'll meet with them for about a half an hour, a chance to get to know each other a little bit, for you to answer any questions you've got. And then you will find out if you're accepted into the program in mid-February. We have spots for 20 students on the program. And it's different every year. Some years we're able to accept almost everybody. Other years we may have a wait list. So we'll have to see how many people do end up applying to see what happens there. If you do end up getting waitlisted, often we do definitely get people from the wait list that do get a spot on the program. So if you do get that information, don't despair. Often a spot does become available. Or we also have other first year abroad programs this summer that we may be able to say, hey, you're currently on the wait list for the Germany program, but the Australia program has a spot if you're interested in moving, or you can just wait and see if the spot opens up. In terms of scholarships, we do have scholarship funding for these programs. There is no separate scholarship application. As long as you apply to the program by February 1st, you will automatically be considered for our study abroad scholarships. We determine these scholarships based on your financial need. We work with the financial aid office to get your FAFSA information and then your GPA. So basically, if you are a student who has strong financial need and strong grades, you're going to be the most likely to be able to get scholarship funding. Our smallest scholarships are already $1,000, and our largest scholarships can go up to almost the full amount of the program. So I always tell students, if money is a concern for you, apply to the program, see if you get accepted, see how much scholarship funding you might get, and then you can decide what you'd like to do. Once you're accepted and find out if you got a scholarship award and how much that is, you're going to have a week or two to make a decision about whether you want to move forward or not. So you've got time to think about it and say, yes, moving forward, or no, not able to for whatever reason that is. So there's no commitment. So apply, see what kind of funding you might get, and then you can go from there. And we will let you know all of that in probably mid to late February. The cost of the program is $3,500. It includes quite a bit of the program. It includes your airfare, it includes all your lodging. For meals, it includes all your breakfasts and a few dinners. All the activities, all the transportation, we get you international travel health insurance. So really the costs above that that you're responsible for are just anything you want to spend in your free time and free time that you might do, and then a handful of your meals. All of your lunches and a few of your dinners are what you'll need to have on top of that. But otherwise, that does cover everything else pretty much on the program. So it's pretty all inclusive. You also pay tuition for the 6 credit hours you're enrolled in, but as long as you don't go over 18 credit hours in the spring quarter, that's no extra cost. They look like regular courses. If you overload and go more than 18 credits in the spring quarter, just like any quarter, if you took more than 18 credits, you have to pay for the extra credits. But as long as you have 18 credits or less, the only fee that you'll have is that $3,500 program fee. And the length of the program is a little over a week in length. So just to kind of give you an idea, it's basically going to be you'll have finals week, and then it's the weekend after that, and you depart, I believe, on Monday. And then you're there for about a little over a week. I think it's 8 or 9 days. So, all right. If you have questions after this, you can get in touch with me directly, especially if it's about the application process or any kind of logistical questions. If you have specific questions about the course, or about the actual time abroad of what you're going to be doing, Professor Westhoff is really happy to answer those. But we will take some time now as well if you have any questions. So just feel free to unmute or put something in the chat. We're happy to answer whatever questions you may have. Yeah, Mace, did I see your hand go up? Yeah, go for it.
Um, what is like the likelihood that you will get a scholarship for the like program?
Yeah, it's a little hard to say specifically. We give scholarship funding to probably about a third, like probably 30 to 40% of the students who do these first year road programs. But it really is determined by, like I said, your financial need and your GPA. So it's students who have higher demonstrated financial need and have strong grades that are the most likely to get scholarship funding. We've got a pool of money and we just work our way through the list and try to get as many people as we can that have that need the funding that they need until the money runs out. So,
Thank you.
yeah. What other questions? There's got to be some other questions here. Yes, go ahead, Malaya.
Okay, so I was just thinking like, I know you mentioned like blocking off the, well, say we get accepted into the program,
Mhm.
blocking off the times of the meetings. What if, like, what if it kind of like conflict? I don't know, like, what if I forget and then like I schedule a whole another class for
Uh,
the same time?
I mean, the good news is you're going to be hearing about all of this in like late February and making final decisions by the beginning of March. So it's going to be like well before the spring quarter starts. So once
Okay.
this all happens, if you get accepted and you move forward, we're going to get you registered. And if you see, oh shoot, I registered for another class at the same time, like you've got plenty of time to drop that class and add a different section. But just kind of letting you know that. But just keeping that on your radar so that if you are thinking about it as you start to do your course registration, that's good to know. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. What else? And then the other thing I should have mentioned too about the course. Some of you, I don't know if any of you are taking a focal point seminar this quarter already. Hopefully not, because this gives you your focal point seminar credit. But if any of you happen to be taking focal point seminar LSP 112 this quarter, you can still apply for the program. What we'll do is instead of getting focal point seminar credit, we'll give you experiential learning credit, or it can go towards open elective credit. So don't worry if by mistake you already were taking a focal point seminar. There's still a way that we can make it work and you'll still get credit for it. For most of you, probably I'm guessing you waited and this will knock that credit out for you. Other questions? All right. Julia, any final thoughts or things you'd like to share?
No, just it's always exciting and always different, the program, because as I said, Berlin is changing fast, and you can tell. Again, it has quite the pulse, that city. So visiting it and seeing it, from different vantage points, as I mentioned, is very much worth the visit. And yeah, I am biased, so just saying.
Excellent. Well, great to have you all here. We will stick around if you have an individual question and you want to ask it. But otherwise, have a great weekend. If you haven't submitted everything, get it in soon, and we'll be in touch in these next few weeks as we move forward. So thanks.
Yeah, Grace and I are definitely looking forward to seeing hopefully all of you at interviews.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone.
Until then.